Bob Vincent, the hotel manager at Harvey nightclub, walked throughout the hallways on August 26th at about 5 in the morning to make sure that staff delays and internal problems didn't happen. One of the biggest hotels in the country. He heard a strange but familiar sound behind him while he was walking through a nightclub. Most of the staff had finished their work and gone home to rest because it was still early, so the hallway was mostly empty. He heard a door creaking open like it needed oil. He quickly turned around and saw. Bob turned around, but there was no one in the hallway. He thought, why is the door to the room open? Was anyone present? What is inside? He wished he hadn't gone in to see for himself. The door is stiff and needs oil. He quickly turned back and saw that the entrance to the room was open. It was pitch black in the room, as if someone had just left and left the door open. Bob searched the hallway for someone, but no one was there. He became more curious and thought, why is the door to the room open? Was there anyone there? What is inside? He wished he hadn't gone in to see for himself. Bob first spotted a weird dark grey cube on 4 wooden blocks. It looked like something big was within the blocks since they were so densely embedded in the carpet. There was a big cube and a smaller cube on top of it in this box. They joined together using welding. There was a cube face with 28 numbered switches on it that stood out, but it wasn't clear what it was for. Bob liked switch 23 since it was the only one that could be turned high. When you turned it, it showed an off choice. But who? Who turned it off and why? Bob was even more confused because this cube wasn't at the amusement park an hour before. Bob couldn't see or smell anything in this location. Staff did not tell him about this strange order or send it to him. He was curious about who brought this cube and why it was in a dark room. Why did he find it? He was bothered by inquiries until he saw something important near this strange cube. There was an envelope on the ground next to the box. Bob walked up to it and read the edge of the envelope. The notification was sent to the people in charge of the amusement park. The people in charge of the amusement park know that it's not random. Bob was smart to call the hotel security guards to check the mail before he touched it. He and the guards went to the room together. When they walked in, the envelope attracted their eye. They tensed up since it was new to them. Bob was nervous when he saw them. He was curious about what this hidden message said. Who authored it, and why did they put it in this mysterious box? The hotel security staff found all the information about the messages. The hotel was terrifying. This wasn't just any package. They were in trouble. No one knew what would happen if someone made a mistake or touched something. Did anyone have the strength to open the message under the fear and anxiety? Everyone was quiet and staring at each other until one person stood up, took the envelope, opened it, pulled out the paper and unfolded it. He read aloud, "Tell the hotel management and explosives team not to touch, move or tilt the box. If it moves less than 0.1 on the ROR scale, the mechanism within will set off the bomb. The bomb floats again when it touches a drop of water because of its special key, so don't put it in water. Between 26 and 33. If the pressure changes, this key will explode because it is directly connected to the explosives. It won't take long to take apart or open the explosive because it is so delicate. A small touch or movement from inside or outside can cause the whole building and everything in it to explode. If ROR goes below 0.1, the explosive inside will go off. Don't let it sink. It has a key that makes the bomb float when it hits water. Another air pressure key is set to a range of 26 to 33. If the pressure changes, this key will set off the explosives. Because the bomb is so sensitive, any attempt to take it apart or open it will fail in seconds. A small touch or movement from inside or outside can cause the whole building to explode in a flash. The person who made this bomb can only disable or disarm it in one instant. He is the only one who can tell the club management what to do and how to do it. These actions can help the management move the gadget to a safe place and blow it up to get rid of it. If you try anything else, the bombs will go off and murder everyone inside. There are 3 automatic timers on the bomb, each with a different time to go off. No one will live if the club management doesn't listen to the warning. The bomb disposal team will get special instructions to turn off the first 2 timers and move the bomb to a safe place where it can be detonated. Don't touch it or turn it off. It will blow up right away, causing a lot of damage. This bomb has enough TNT to level a street. Please set up a 1,200-foot boundary and make sure everyone leaves right away. The specifications are clear: $3 million in $100 bills that are clean, unmarked and uncolored, indicated. And if these rules are broken, we will end the agreement and set off the bomb right away. The first page of instructions was over, and all the security officers were astonished, unhappy and scared. It became worse than it had ever been. More than 1,000 hotel guests and workers were quickly moved to a safer place. Danny Dan Carlson and Larich Champagne's explosives team got there right away. They went into the chamber, looked at the explosive and quickly figured out how it worked and how dangerous it was. Everyone was shocked when Harvey Gross, the owner of the club and hotel, said he wouldn't pay the ransom. Harvey Gross, the owner of the club and hotel, was shocked and refused to pay the ransom. The bomb squad started working. They used their tools to look at every edge and corner of the strange box. Daniel, the squad leader, was an old specialist in disarming armaments and explosives, but when he saw this box, he stopped and was shocked since he had no idea what was inside. He had a lot of questions going around in his thoughts. When did the timer start counting down? How accurate? Are the wires within slack or tightly bound? Were the kidnappers who made the box professionals or amateurs trying to fix it? If the bomb doesn't go off in 24 hours, may it be moved? Would that be more dangerous? He pondered about these ideas that were going around in his head while he looked at the gift. Do they have expertise fixing things professionally, or are they just trying to fix it? Is it safer to move the box if the bomb doesn't go off in 24 hours? He pondered about these whirling things while he looked at the package. He was thinking about every question and option. They gathered paint samples from the box after a while, in the aim of opening further doors. After they tried to wipe the box, they couldn't see any fingerprints on it. But when they put a stethoscope on the wall of the box, they heard the horrible timer ticking. They knew they were up against a lethal animal. They are only seconds away from disaster. If they don't act right, the location will turn into a slaughterhouse. Then they used an X-ray machine to see what was inside the package. There was a complicated electrical circuit within that connected each key on the exterior. There were wires connected to sensitive sensors on each screw. The explosives were attached to a tilt sensor in the box. They verified everything and concluded that the message from the blackmailers was true. They promptly told nearby businesses and buildings to leave before it was too late. The inspection team uncovered dreadful things that couldn't be undone. There were 7 electromechanical fusion circuits connected to a battery in a circle within the gadget. This battery was attached to the bomb's dynamite. If any of these 7 circuits were mistakenly turned on, such as when someone tried to lift the cover, unscrew one screw, or take off one box face, the circuit that was turned on would send a signal directly to the other 6 circuits, which would all turn on at the same time. The circuit would be finished, and the battery would power the bombs. Even the person who made the bomb couldn't stop it after this, which was bad. This step would make sure that the bomb went off. The buttons that moved on one of the box's smaller sides were even made to aid the security staff disable the gadget. They didn't know how to move them correctly. Should they move them all at once, or only half of them? Or maybe just touching or moving them might help. The battery powers the explosives and the circuit operates. After this step, even the person who built the bomb can't stop it, which is bad. The explosion is going to happen at this point. The little box even has movable keys on one side to help the security staff. To turn off the bomb, you had to use them in a very specific way. They didn't know how to move them correctly. Should they move them in sequence or flip one half and leave the other half? If you touch or move them, you might hurt the bomb's insides, the insides of a bomb. The staff was thinking about all of these issues, but no one had the answer. They only had one alternative left to get rid of this unusual box that was bothering a lot of people. They had no option but to do what the bomb maker told them to do. They did grab the third paper from the message and read it one at a time to understand the terms and how it would be delivered. What kind of instructions? What method did blackmailers want them to follow? These details determined the outcome. Everything was tense. At 11 p.m. a helicopter had to take the money to the next open place from the IT building, which was Lake Tahoe Airport. The helicopter had to face east, and the pilot had to be alone and unarmed. When he got there, he had to walk to the gate and wait for a cab or someone he didn't know to give him an envelope. The public phone booth next door could make a call, but it wasn't expected until approximately midnight. He had to hold a flashlight and shine it inside the helicopter to reveal everything from the first seat to the last corner before he could go back. They didn't want to hide anything or anyone. They needed to get a good view since they were watching him with binoculars. If someone did something suspicious or thought they were lying, the innocent would pay a lot. They did exactly what they were told to do. Don't put off sending money. The situation must be covered live by both local and national news outlets until the device is taken out of the hotel. There must be one unarmed pilot in the helicopter. To view everything from the first seat to the last corner, the pilot needs to shine a light inside the helicopter. There shouldn't be anything he can't see because they'll be watching him with binoculars. Even a glimmer of doubt about honesty may murder innocent individuals, so be sure you follow all the instructions exactly. The first orders were to bring the money right now. Second, the local or national news must show the situation live until the device is taken out of the hotel. Third, the helicopter should only have a pilot who is not armed and has no weapons. The plane has to be fueled up for a long journey, and the pilot can't talk to anyone after getting the envelope until the control tower tells them to. They decided that we would watch the news from 11:30 p.m. until 5 in the morning. The rules are ambiguous so that people don't have to think about how to talk to the pilot and taxi driver without detaining them. The person who sent the message indicated that the bomb maker is not in charge of delivery. We don't know the cab driver or the stranger who could deliver the letter. They were each hired to do a certain job and will be compensated for it. If one of them is caught before or after the delivery, if the FBI or another agency does an official or secret investigation, or if they try to connect the story's strands and unearth the truth, the bomb will go off. If this device is turned off, they will put another one in a different place, which is far worse. New problems will be tougher, more dangerous and smarter. The letter ends by saying that if the delivery goes well, we will give the club management 6 bomb removal instructions that will arrive at different times. The pilot will give the first lesson in person. If you work with us, we could offer you the last 5 directions at Kingsspray Post Office in a row. Please be aware that there will be no more conversations or delivery extensions beyond 24 hours. Our demands are severe and clear. If you try to postpone or negotiate, you will get the same consequence. The pilot has to refuel the plane, and I repeat, do not bring anyone with you, not even a co-pilot. The control tower will be the only place where you can get directions when you get there. Don't try to be a hero. Others have tried and failed, and they died for this crime. After takeoff, you'll land at 5 places, although none of them are airports. Don't worry, the places to land are straight and safe. Finally, make sure the plane is brightly lit. You need to see and understand everything. If you don't follow the directions exactly, you will suffer serious consequences. After many talks between the FBI and the FBI, they chose pilot Joe Cook to make the delivery. Cook was the oldest United States Navy combat pilot, and he had a lot of exciting times. He previously flew a helicopter for more than 1,000 hours while hanging out in the air, watching and waiting, which is similar to what he's doing now. More than 1,000 hours of flying, watching and waiting. So, Cook was flown by helicopter from Los Angeles to South Lake Tahoe, where, well, he was handed the money to present to the people who were blackmailing him. Now, the FBI, on the other hand, had agreed to execute the directions exactly, except for one thing: mailing the $3 million and having the pilot travel alone. 2 agents came with 2 black bags full of cash, but you see, all of the cash in the bags was fake except for the top layer, which was real to make it look like the whole amount was real. Cook piloted the chopper to Lake Tahoe Airport, where he picked up Dale Rory, a special FBI agent. Cook landed the chopper at the target airport at midnight and then proceeded to the public phone as told. It took him 3 minutes to hear a voice tell him to follow the directions. Cook found an envelope attached to the bottom of the phone box with updated instructions for the pilot inside. The instructions said to fly in a straight path at a height of no more than 500 feet above the Earth, check for a light flare after 15 minutes, land the helicopter right away, and then travel south on foot. Cook went back to the helicopter and shone a light inside, as he had been told to do, but it just wasn't bright enough to show the hidden federal agent inside. He soared toward the roadway for 15 minutes, but oddly enough, there was no flash of light. Cook kept flying about the region for an hour, but he didn't see anything. The helicopter's fuel was running low and the gauge was lowering. At that point, Cook made up his mind to go back. Harvey, the owner of a hotel, is in peril after a bomb goes off in his hotel. Leonard Wilson is in charge of the bomb disposal squad, which is striving to get rid of the explosive safely and without hurting anyone. By increasing the key 5, they have bought themselves more time, but the bomb may go off in an hour or perhaps a day. It's hard for technicians to figure out the bomb's codes or grasp its many parts since it's so complicated. Wilson's idea, on the other hand, says that they might be able to get rid of the bomb even though it is quite complicated. He suggests employing a charge generated by an effect called menorah, which sends 2 little charges at the box from opposing sides at a very specific angle. This little explosion within the box will impact the wires in less than a microsecond, shutting off all communication between the wires before the 7 circuits can link with each other. This will stop the huge explosion. Wilson's plan is carried out on a greater scale and with a lot of preparation, making security tighter and gaining control of all places around the device. You can set off the charges from a safe distance with a wireless device, and the explosion doesn't stop the bomb. Instead, it has terrible effects. The charges start the bomb's fuse, and the explosive goes off entirely. Harvey loses a big chunk of his hotel when it falls down and opens up a deep hole that is almost the size of 5 stories. Even though they lost a lot of money, Harvey, the demolition crew, and even American intelligence are delighted and relieved that they finally got rid of the bomb problem. After days of stress and terror, they feel better. After the Harvey Hotel incident, government investigations started to locate the genuine culprit who set off the bomb. The FBI sent special agents from other agencies to identify anyone who could have been involved in setting the device. The FBI and police were quite tense, and they made their agents work more than 24 hours straight without a break, only to acquire a lead. Bill Honke was one of these agents. He met with the investigating team and staged a news conference that the owner of the Harvey Hotel personally attended. They promised to pay $200,000 to anyone who might help them find the culprits. The management of the Harvey Hotel and other nightclub owners in the vicinity gave the money since they already knew who was after Harv Gross and why. It was time for testimonials and declarations after getting proof and watching. The first person they talked to was a bank worker who told the police vital things about the device being transported inside the facility. He stated he observed 2 young men in maintenance suits go into the hotel with a big cart wrapped in fabric that had the initials IBM on it. They told him that the cart was from IBM and that they were bringing a big camera to the hotel. He didn't think they were up to anything because the scenario seemed official, so he let them go. But more than one hotel visitor said they saw a white vehicle parked in the hotel garage the day before the explosion. People reportedly stated they spotted two males strolling along the hotel fence in the dark with a huge bag. No one knew what was in it. It was evident that these guys had planned this ahead of time and were ready for it. The investigation office was able to work with undercover agents to find the addresses of the two young guys, since surveillance cameras got a clear picture of them inside the hotel. They were taken into custody. After 2 weeks of inquiry and tracking, they captured 5 suspects. All of them had white vans and were studying mechanical engineering, which means they could create electronic circuits like the one found in the bomb. The cops had to start the investigation anew from the beginning. This time they decided to look at the outside security cameras that were recording the garage, take out the area that showed the white van and submit it to the traffic department to look into the van's license plate and find out who really owned it. The police called Harvey in for interrogation more than 12 times, and they even thought he could have blown up the hotel himself. The police were seeking for a suspect in the Harvey Hotel bombing case, but they had no luck. After 4 months, a call from the head of the traffic department led to the discovery of a white 1975 Dodge tradesman registered under John Waldo Burger's name near California. The police added Burgers to the list of primary suspects and went to his residence, where he was alone at the time. Burgers thought it was strange that the cops knew more than they should, and he quickly tried to think of a method to get out of the situation. Johnny, Burgers' son, tried to get away from the cops by making up a tale about who owned the automobile and stuttering about it. He said that they acquired it from someone and didn't transfer ownership, and that his dad bought the automobile but was now travelling and unavailable. The cops didn't need further proof to know that Burgers was hiding anything. To acquire further proof, the cops started monitoring Burgers' residence and investigating his father's record. Burgers said that the truck was used in the Harvey Hotel bombing and that he drove the automobile on the interstate to look for a good place to grow cannabis. He contacted his brother to come get him once he got back and saw that his car was gone. He went back to the area with gas, believing the problem was easy to fix, but when he got there, he saw that it had been taken. The next day, the event took place at the Harvey Hotel. The cops were angry because they couldn't find Burgers and didn't have enough information. But after 4 months, the FBI called and told Burgers what kind of automobile he had, what the license plate number was, and who owned it. Johnny, Burgers' son, sought to disguise the car's identification, but the authorities required additional proof to back up his claims. The narrative is about a family looking for the truth about a strange event that happened at the Harvey Hotel. The police left the family alone, including Johnny, his brother, and their father, because the tale of what happened was uncertain. They maintained an eye on them without their knowing, expecting that a mistake would betray all and let the truth out. The management of the Harvey Hotel was desperate to find out who blew up the hotel, which converted it into a graveyard. He raised the prize from $200,000 to $500,000 for anyone who could provide him one key piece of information that would assist him find out who was behind the blast. But the police and investigative team didn't uncover the lead. They got a call on the hotline set up for people to report whatever they knew about the hotel explosion. The caller was called Danny DiBiari, who quickly declared that he had critical information concerning what transpired at the Harvey Hotel. Danny said he would meet with the police in person and give them all the information he had. During the meeting, he told everyone that he was seeing a girl called Callie Cooper, who had told him about the bomb that was hidden in the hotel and the plan to blackmail people a week before the explosion. Callie was dating Johnny, who is the son of John Burgers, the owner of the van, right before the explosion. The tale shows just how important trust and communication are when it comes to solving complicated crimes. It also, shows how crucial it is for people to be ready to share what they know and what they've been through, so they can assist others in solving similar crimes. By doing this, The family might help uncover what really happened and hopefully stop further tragedies from taking place. The explosion happened not long after the first one, and the police paused to reconsider just how the John Burgers family was connected to the crime. They gave an order to investigate every member of the John and Waldo Burgers family extremely closely. The first name that came back to the police at the outset of the investigation was the father, John Waldo Burgers himself. They opened his file and reviewed his records, finding details that would honestly make anyone's skin crawl. John had a long history of trying to make bombs, as well as incidents of identity theft and some rather odd connections with people outside the United States. He used to work in precision electronics, which, means he knew enough to make a complicated bomb like the one found at the hotel. It seemed as if all the strands were leading back to him, and everything started to make sense all at once. But they needed concrete proof, so they decided to start watching his residence and all of his actions again, hoping to find anything at all that would definitely connect him to the crime. John Burgers is a wealthy man who has been married twice and divorced both times. He's a well-known billionaire, and his money made him famous, giving him a high social standing. People were a bit scared of him, and hotel owners treated him well, especially at the Harvey Hotel, where he even had a suite named after him. But after he lost more than $500,000 in gaming, people really started to notice. Folks who came to meet him, employees, even his competitors, began to see him as a loser, not a millionaire. The worst part was that Harvey, the hotel owner who usually did whatever John asked, started to ignore him and treat him just like any other guest. They even took away the apartment that had been named after him and handed it over to someone else who was, more important and generous. John felt ashamed, as if everything he had worked for was slipping away right before his eyes. The game really ended after a little while. John lost everything. His fortune was gone, his attempts to reclaim his social standing failed, and he became disliked in the very circles he used to talk about. The most significant thing is that John ran out of money. A man who was once a billionaire now had empty pockets. The police received another alarming tip. After he lost all his money, he set fire to his own business. He did this deliberately at his own restaurant, hoping to get money from the insurance company. The FBI began to surround John and his children from all sides, capturing every call, every step, every visit, and every exit from the house. They started to be extra cautious since a secret spy was keeping an eye on them. The police visited their house several times a day and questioned them about their father's background, his previous profession, his contacts, whether he knew how to construct explosives, whether he had ever been trained, and whether he had any security records. The question is, why didn't the police arrest them right away, since all the evidence pointed to their involvement? The explanation is simple. There just wasn't enough proof. It was all just guesses. Justice doesn't work on guesses. The FBI needed substantial proof, something that directly tied them to the crime, something physical. The plot centers around John Sr. and his son John Jr., who were involved in a big crime that led to the death of their father, Harvey. The kids, who were always being watched and had very little privacy, decided to tell the truth about what they'd done. But they were scared of what would happen if they spoke up, being held responsible, feeling embarrassed and facing punishment. They helped John move some things, but they didn't realize he was going to use them for such a big crime. John was the mastermind behind the attack, and he planned every last detail. He had intended to escape afterward, but the stress, sickness and the failure of the escape plan made him break down inside before anyone else noticed. John had no choice but to confess when the police called him in again. John's scheme to get back at Harvey began when he was feeling lost in life and wanted revenge on Harvey at the same time. John went to an electrochemical energy plant and stole around $50,000 worth of explosives. For 3 weeks he worked day and night to create machinery and assemble the bomb's complicated circuitry. He then hauled the heavy package to the hotel, promising a big payment. Terry Hall and Bill Brown volunteered to help lift the box, but they didn't know what was inside until after they were done. John said coldly, "That was a bomb you just moved." Terry and Bill were stunned, and they didn't call the police since they hadn't received the reward John had promised them yet. They didn't go to the police since they hadn't gotten the payoff John promised them yet, and the bomb was already activated because the timer was running. John typed the blackmail note himself on a typewriter, and there were no fingerprints on it. John Sr. and his son John Jr. put on disguises, took the gun, and waited for the pilot to bring the money to the forest. They held the pilot at gunpoint, abducted him, and took the helicopter, which had millions of dollars inside. They planned to meet John Jr.'s brother in a van, who would then transport them to Europe so they could launder the money and start a new life as wealthy people. But they didn't consider that the pilot might misinterpret the orders, or that FBI agent Dale Rowley was hiding aboard the plane. If they had met in person, it could have turned into a deadly fight, and the pilot might have died, making things even worse. An unmarked car caught John on August 15th, 1981, and he was detained. He was surrounded by security guards disguised as regular people, and he didn't say a word for 4 years in prison. After a while, he told the prosecutors that he had manufactured the bomb, but he also claimed that an unknown group was threatening him. The court wasn't convinced, so John tried to shift the blame to someone else to avoid being held responsible. 9 formal accusations were presented against him on March 7th, 1985. These counts included extortion, making a bomb threat, and having a wireless device that could be used to set off a bomb. John received a life sentence, while his friends Bill and Terry got 7 years in jail for helping to move the device and for not saying anything. John's kids and brother weren't charged since they helped with the investigation and solved the case. The FBI actually uses John's device as a teaching model for bomb disposal professionals, since it is so precise and complicated to build. At the end of the story, there are still questions about whether John was truly in danger or if he had planned everything all along.